Welcome to the Furlo Capital Real Estate Podcast, where we explore strange new worlds and seek to form partnerships with other federated people among the planets. I guess.
That was so strong. You're going strong.
I know. Yeah, because we're going to be talking about Star Trek, which is typically known for space exploration.
Yeah.
But I think it fundamentally is about creating people, or how you create societies and civilizations.
Oh, okay.
Which has to do with real estate, which is what we're all about, because our mission is to equip people to invest wisely in both people and property, no matter what planet it's on, so that together we can build wealth while improving housing. And so I'm James, and this is my wife, Jessie.
So awesome. I love that our kids call it Star Trek.
Star Trek.
I think of a track star every time. I'm like, track star. But no, that has nothing to do with it.
No, it's true. So we signed up for, what is it? It's Paramount Plus.
You get all the old episodes.
And the goal was to introduce our kids to Star Trek.
Yeah.
Because at one time we asked them, like, what do you like more, Star Wars, Star Trek? And they were like, Star Wars. And I went, well, actually, now that I think about it, you haven't seen anything. We've been slowly introducing them to it, but we had access to all of it. And so I personally have been watching a lot of Star Trek. And so it's good.
And apparently there's like way more spin-offs to the original than I ever thought there were.
Oh,
there were like, I knew there were some, but I was like, oh, okay, there's this Strange New World thing and Lower Deck. And
these are the two I've been going off of. Yeah, no, there's Discovery, Deep Space Nine, there's Voyager, there's Enterprise, there's Next Generation, in addition to the OG.
Yeah, I'm most familiar with the OG with Captain Kirk. And then the Next Generation with Picard.
Yeah, Picard has his own series.
Yeah, that's right. We watched
he's older.
a couple episodes. That was a little weird.
It
just made me feel old. Because I was like, oh man, Picard's an old man.
But no, it's been good. I even think the OG cartoon is good because it let them do some things that were hard to do.
There's like a 1980s, 90s cartoon, like somewhere in there. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah. Then obviously there's all the movies.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, we're about halfway through Wrath of Khan right now. And,
Wrath of Khan,
I know you're excited for that one.
Right.
We'll get there.
I do like that one. I do like Next Gen. There's something about it that like is nostalgic for me. Geordi and Data.
Yeah, I ordered. Oh gosh, what is it? What's Picard's favorite drink? Blanking on
Earl
right now.
Grey.
Yeah, I ordered one of those at a coffee restaurant, but I'm pretty sure he adds something to it because I got it. I was like, whatever. It's just tea.
It's just tea.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, it's been fun watching all of it. But it got me thinking. Yes, it is fun, and I do enjoy all the adventures, but it also has stuff to do with real estate, so I'm going to talk about that.
I'm interested in these parallels.
Yes, so.
From a parallel universe.
Exactly. All right, so there is the Prime Directive of real estate.
Yes.
Okay, which could be don't interfere too prematurely.
Interesting. Okay.
So in Star Trek, the Prime Directive, it prevents Starfleet from disrupting developing civilizations. And so in real estate, it's the rule of like market readiness. You don't beam down capital into a market until you've studied it and understand it. Like last year, a few years ago, like Austin was an example of a place that was just blowing up like crazy. And it seemed, we got to get in there. But if you don't personally know or understand where it's at, you shouldn't necessarily go after it right away.
All right.
Yeah. Observation precedes intervention. Oh, essentially it's talking about like due diligence. You got to understand your markets.
That's right.
Yeah.
Observe first, then perhaps interact or
Exactly.
take steps. But in Star Trek, is the Prime Directive, like I always understood the Prime Directive is you never get involved to like change a civilization or a culture.
Yes, and part of the fun of it is
they
there's always
do
rules,
the time.
but they don't want to be, they can, it's weird.
They can interact.
They can interfere, but it's got to be like in a non-noticeable way. It's more of keeping them on track and more importantly, not revealing any technology.
Like, I think you're saying if it is beneficial for everybody, like that's okay. Like we could do that, but not necessarily if it's going to eliminate a whole civilization or organism or whatever. But
yeah.
but in real estate, okay, just loosely. Observe first and then take action.
That's the idea. I've got some others. Surprise. There's the federation model, okay, which is scaling through shared values. So Star Trek is all about the federation, which is they have these planets and civilizations who join in and based off of,
That's
hey,
right.
we all believe these same things,
Yeah.
as opposed to, say, like Klingons or those other ones that are the Romulans.
Romulans,
right?
yes. I was like,
Kinda
it's not Vulcans are in.
No, they're in. The Federation expands by inviting worlds into a shared alliance, like I just said, not by conquest. And so each world keeps its culture while following united principles, which is nice. And I think that's the same thing for like when it comes to real estate and you're investing.
Yeah.
You maybe have these shared principles, but each investment will look and feel different.
Yeah.
But you keep that what you're going for as the same.
I could see like you're aligning in your like mission and vision for what you're doing as well. You're finding a sponsor or a team that you're like, yeah, the purpose behind this investment, I can get behind that. It's not unscrupulous or just about making the money or whatever. It's
exactly.
something bigger.
So like we're talking about great real estate portfolios, they work the same way. Each property has its own character, but it's followed by a shared systems of accounting standards, maintenance protocols, those shared values, those kind of things. And even on the syndication model, where if you don't know, a syndication is where you put in money, there's multiple owners in the project, as opposed to, say, being like a private money lender. But anyways, on the syndication model, they are, in some ways, they're mini federations. Yeah. Hey, we're all bringing these things together for the line goal. We're all bringing whatever resources we have to bear to buy it. So bigger projects especially and bigger portfolios all work off the federation model. And I think it's important to keep those, to figure out what are those important things that aren't going to change and keep those front and center. Yeah. So like for me, it's funny, one of the things that I've talked about right now is I only invest in Oregon. I don't look out at other markets, and I'm willing to drive quite the distance inside of Oregon. But I understand Oregon's rules, how they work, all of that kind of stuff, and that's important to me. I tend to like bigger, funkier properties as opposed to single-family homes for long-term holds. That's important to me. And people I invest with, like, I want them to have shared values. So
yeah, there should be some alignment there.
Yeah, some alignment. All right, now I want to talk about Starship design and asset engineering. You have, in a Starship, you have crew quarters. So these are like multifamily housing that provides safe, comfortable living spaces for residents. Yeah. You've got your engineering, which is like your infrastructure systems that keep everything running smoothly behind the scenes, accounting, emails, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, communication.
Sick bay.
Broken stuff.
Preventative maintenance.
Oh,
that
that's like
issues
wellness care.
Emergencies.
Sure.
I know. And then you have the bridge.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And that's the asset management side of things, the oversight that coordinate all the functions.
Yeah, they're making the decisions.
Strategic decisions. Yeah, and I think it's just important to say, because this is a thing in Star Trek, engineering beats heroics, and system thinking turns chaos into performance. Yeah. So like a Starship, it has all the different parts. So there's property or just real estate and investing
real estate
in general.
Investing and managing.
And property management too, but
sure.
Yeah, because that's definitely a part of it.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And if you don't have great systems, it does break down.
Yes.
Similar to
giving her all
Star Trek.
She can, Captain.
Like,
come on.
We don't have the power.
A little more. Yeah. What was it? I think it was in Strange New Worlds. There was one time where Kirk he had temporarily taken over captainship. He was not quite a captain yet in that series. And and he asked him to push the ship further than it could handle. And they all tried to warn him, dude, you're overextending, you're over leveraging. He's like, I don't care, we got to do it. And sure enough, it all broke down. Yeah. Like, you can't do that.
Stuck somewhere and
had
to figure that out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, a time crunch for for fixing the core warp drive or something.
All right, now I want to talk about something that's, what do they call it? A DS9. That's what the cool kids call it. Deep Space Nine. It's the Ferengi rules versus Federation ethics. I know. What, you're not up to beat on all these?
I know the Ferengis.
Okay, what do you know about them?
I'm pretty sure they're like wheelers and dealers, and they'll make a deal.
One thing they care about.
Yeah, it's all about money, all about trading. If it is good for them, they're probably in, but they'll take advantage.
Yeah,
of whatever opportunity.
100%. There you go. Yeah, once they have your money, never give it back. It's pure profit maximization without regard for relationships or community impact. Yeah,
they're sleazy.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. As opposed to the Federation philosophy, which is infinite diversity and infinite combinations, building value through stewardship and community improvement.
And they actually, like within the Federation, is like money's not a thing.
Correct. Yeah.
They don't have like credits or money or
Right.
like it just, they have resources and then they manage the resources to be like beneficial for everybody.
Essentially.
Yeah. I was trying to explain that to our kids
It's very
the other day,
communistic,
you know, because
socialist, communistic in that regard.
yeah. So,
Do the best of your ability.
socialist.
Just
Yeah.
do. Which is
Yeah.
whatever.
You each contribute your own gifts and skills and then you get basic needs met. And there's
Yeah.
an agreed upon standard of what basic needs is, you know, what the standard is.
It's very altruistic. Yes.
Yes, it is
Yes.
very altruistic. I tried to explain it because I don't remember what we were talking about, but I said something about, yeah, like in the future, like Star Trek, and our kids were like, wait, that's the future? And I was like, yes.
Yeah. Star Wars
Like-
was a long time ago. Star Trek's star date,
I was
26,
like,
whatever.
I was like, they say the date, and it's like in the future, like way in the
Wow.
future. But I think they just
It's not
didn't,
even
like,
our calendar date. It's
right? Yeah, it's just made up.
But it's in the future.
It's in the future. You're like, I don't know. That
Yeah.
was just a known fact. And our kids were like, oh. And I was like, yeah, that's why they're exploring new worlds, because Earth can't sustain people, or like they're branching out. They're doing like there's lots of premises here. And then they find all these other worlds and people
Yeah.
and they start to live differently. And then people in Earth, like they make the Federation, they don't even have money. And they like the whole premise is to explore and to expand and to help one another. And Samson was just like, no money. How do they get stuff? And I was like, they have everything that they need.
They have, what
You
do
know,
they call them?
kind of share.
Replicators?
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
have you seen them like go to the wall and they're just like cheeseburger and fries and boom, it's there.
I guess, I don't know if they've actually gotten that far in the series yet. We need to watch more.
I know, we need to watch some more because I was like,
Yeah.
okay, all right. We need to give you some like more context.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, yes, we do. As investors, we need to walk the line between these two philosophies because we need to steward capital responsibly while improving communities. That's important to us. But most successful operators also understand that profit's the byproduct of that purpose well executed.
Yeah.
I think it was Hewlett and Dave Packard we're talking about, of HP fame. We're talking about, hey, yeah, our goal is to help out the world. And one of the ways we will measure that success is by how much money we make. No, we've helped out a lot of people. It's kind of that similar ethos there. All right. I want to talk about the holodeck problem. Ooh, the holodeck problem, which the kids haven't really seen yet because
Right.
it's not.
It's not a thing in the OG.
Yeah, which is cool. You have the illusion. On the holodeck, everything looks real until the power fails. In real estate, spreadsheets create the same illusion with perfect returns and perfect tenants.
Ooh, that's a good analogy.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're
we
like,
used to
man,
talk
this
about
looks
doing
so
perfect
good.
math.
Yeah. You could make it look great.
Yeah.
The upside and you tweak this knob and that knob and it's there's definitely like a great return if this and this, but it's yes.
Yeah.
But that in the real world, all of those scenarios
And I'll
aren't
admit,
necessarily
I don't do this as often. I should probably do it more, but it is fun to go back and compare. Hey, what were my original assumptions? And then
interesting.
refill it out
sure.
and be like, where am I actually at today? Yeah, that's what like I said, I don't do it super often, but I've done it a few times, and it's
Yeah.
always interesting.
Yeah, because it's a
So there's places I miss, places I don't.
what's the term you call that? It's not a static.
Dynamic.
It's a dynamic market.
Oh.
Yeah, where they're like there's constantly things changing, even the market and
Yeah.
taxes and all even things unrelated are
Yeah.
shifting and changing and affecting the numbers that you're putting in there.
Right. Yeah. And even then in order for it to fit in a spreadsheet, you have to overly simplify the
Right.
complexities of the real world
Yeah.
to make it all work. Yeah. As we just alluded to, there's the reality where the underlying assumptions can break. Taxes can increase, insurance can spike, vacancy rates, everything. Yeah, it can be very different. So the solution is to test your models against stress scenarios. So you build in buffers and you assume Murphy's Law will visit your property at the worst time possible. And so that's one way that you can do it. And I've got cool stress tests built into my spreadsheets depending on the model that it's looking at. Like one of them on my flipping model, I have a Monte Carlo simulation set up there. So I actually run 1,000 different simulations where it tweaks the assumptions to test the bounds and then to say, okay, overall, what's the most likely scenario given all these possible outcomes within a reasonable assumption. And I know it's not like, it's my way of also saying like, I don't actually know the answer, but it helps me determine if I'm at least being conservative. Most of the scenario, if my scenario is worse than most of the probable scenarios, you go, okay, I feel pretty good about this. But if it's not, okay, like I've introduced some risk in here. What can I do to re-mitigate it is kind of how that works. And then for my syndication spreadsheet, that was a little more complicated, so I couldn't quite make the Monte Carlo off of it. So instead, I used a different feature within Excel where you can actually test just two different variables against each other and run it and see, okay, here's
Just run different scenarios.
So you might say you compare the hold period versus vacancy rate.
Okay.
Something. I don't know if that makes sense, but to do that specific comparison. But those are different things that you can test. And again, you're just looking at the big variables. The vacancy rate is different than what I thought. The hold period is going to be different than I thought. The construction costs are different than I thought. Those are all the different. Those are just a few. Rents don't increase as much as I thought. Those are all the things.
You could also look at the holodeck as being like what you were just saying is you get to test out different scenarios without actually pulling the trigger. You're just like, all right, let's see what this would look like.
That's the solution, right? Do the holodeck, but don't just do one and call it good.
Yeah, a bunch of different scenarios.
What is that worst case? What is the best case?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And just see what the impact is. Man, if the bottom does fall out, what does that actually look like? How much? I don't know. If vacancy rates suddenly jump up to 15%, am I in trouble?
Yeah.
Or not? And obviously your returns won't be great, but are you in trouble?
Yeah. Could you still make it work?
Yeah. Because the name of the game is not to die. Yeah. Like I said, I have been watching Strange New Worlds quite a bit. Super fun. And again, this is the one that takes place before the OG group. So it's before Kirk is captain.
Yes. That's okay. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I'm not as familiar with that one.
Yeah. It's weird because it technically takes place before all that, but obviously it's a modern show, so it looks cooler. Weird. But whatever. It's all good. And they definitely have Spock is in the show, but it's a different character. It needs to be. And I think it's fine to just unapologetically be like, we get it. Like, it's close, but it's not the same person. It's allowed. And I think I should address the whole which one's better, Star Trek, Star Wars. But so let's see here. Starfleet captains explore new sectors, but with shields up, backup plans, and sensor sweeps. They embrace calculated risk, not reckless abandon, okay? Because that's part of they got to go for it. So for the sensor sweep, what that looks like is researching new markets thoroughly before committing capital, studying demographics, employment trends, and regulatory environments. I think is really important, and at least making sure that the sponsor you're investing with knows all of that. But again, the shields up piece of it is they structure deals with protective measures, like they have earnest money contingencies, there's inspection periods, and partnership agreements. Like they're checking all those boxes. And then the trusted crew piece of it, they've just got experienced partners and advisors who are helping them out, whether that's brokers, insurance, property manager, all the above. And so that's how they're successful in that particular one. That's right. I had here a first contact story. And I think, so Baker City was this example of one where we were looking at a property to invest there. And that the sensor sweep was one where it was like, man, I don't know anything about this place. It's 6 hours away from where I live. And so I spent some time there and got to know it. And I dove into the data, and from when I first learned about it to when we actually closed was over a year. So that gave me time just to learn. And even now I subscribe to the newspaper so I can stay on top of
current events and what's going on.
The other show that I actually highly recommend is Lower Decks. It's a cartoon, and the entire idea is it's not the bridge crew, it's the people underneath. And it's such a well done show. It's unbelievably good. It's the way I heard it described, and I 100% agree with it. Like, it's a love letter to Star Trek. And because the guys who wrote it, you can tell they're just massive fans.
Okay.
And so, because the Lower Deck guys, they will make fun of the bridge captains and the bridge crew, I should say, and all that stuff. And they'll make references to different people. But at the same time, they're like, Kirk is awesome. And
they're like super fans.
Oh, totally. It's so good. But one of the takeaways that I got from that was that success depends on the people nobody sees. And I think property management often operates in this way, where you have maintenance techs, bookkeepers, virtual assistants, leasing agents. Like that's your Lower Deck team.
Yeah, they're not the face of everything, but they definitely keep everything running.
Yeah. And so, with maintenance techs, they're keeping everything running, right? They do preventative emergency stuff and they preserve the asset value, due diligence. Bookkeepers obviously do their bookkeeping thing, which is important to provide that financial visibility.
Oh, yeah. For your investors, for sure, that you can give updates to, but also when money is being managed and spent and traded and paid for rent, people want to know that's being managed well and tracked.
Yeah, I love having a bookkeeper now that I have one, where it's like we're just constantly on top of stuff now, which is great.
That's what I feel like is a bookkeeper. When you have a person who's designated to do that job, it doesn't seem as overwhelming because it's super easy.
Likes it.
That particular thing is super easy to get behind.
Oh, yeah.
If you're like trying to manage all the other things and you're like, oh man, it's only been a couple weeks, but there's so many transactions. I got to now catch up and do the regular transactions. It just gets out of control.
We're at where it's about 200 units. Like that.
That's
up
just
really fast.
A lot of moving pieces.
Yeah, no, totally. And
Keeper.
Yeah, you want to have the leasing agents, which I'll admit is primarily still me in my business, but they're filling the vacancies, screening tenants. Man, I just had a conversation with a tenant or a potential tenant this evening. It was really interesting. He does a sales job. And so we were going through and I was asking questions, and he can move in a month from now. And I was like, man, that's a long time. And I know that my owner wants it like rented yesterday.
Yeah.
So I was like, would you be willing to do essentially a holding fee, pay half a month's rent for November to hold it for December? And he was like, no, not really. I was like, oh,
okay.
All right. But it was fascinating. And so I was like, okay, no problem. Like, cool. And he's like, can I still take a tour of the place? And I was like, no, I don't want to. I was like, I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to lock it up now. And he was like, but it's available to rent. And I was like, yeah, I know. But I could just tell there was a sales piece that like all of a sudden we entered into negotiation right out the gate. I was like, here's what's going on. And I was like, nope, I'm the prize, not you. It's all good. And I told him the truth, which is like, you know what? I've got 1 to 3 people calling me a day about it. This thing's going to fill up. But I'll tell you what, if in 2 weeks it's not, I'll give you a call. Yeah. And I was like, and then we'll get you in for a tour and have you check it out if you don't find a place. Yeah. Anyways, that's part of that. It's part of that process. And yeah. And it's priced right. So I'm like, nah, it'll get rented for time. It's just like, this is the worst time of the year to try to rent something.
Yeah.
So I'm also going to be super picky about it. And then the virtual assistants, I think I've got one and she's awesome. She helps out with all the paperwork stuff. It's shocking how many utilities you have to deal with. And it's unbelievable.
It's true.
It's one of those things you just don't think about until you're managing a ton of properties.
Suddenly it multiplies.
All over the place. And it's insane. And so she's super helpful to have that person and even like when we bring in someone new, she's filling out the leasing paperwork, getting all that done, and just super helpful. Answering questions, and that she's a triage person for all the messages. She doesn't necessarily know the answer, but she's okay. Hey, ask this person.
I see you. Yeah, we heard you. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. The hard part about them is, and this is a lot of the lower decks piece, they often don't get credit when things go right, but it really does depend upon them. And good operators invest in that culture, not just the capital of it. And so a strong crew prevents mission failure. Yeah, there you go, man. Lower decks. Highly recommend it yet again. After you invest with us, of course. And then you have to be wary of the Borg Collective.
Sure. They're creepy.
Standardization. Do you remember what the Borg is?
Oh, yeah. They assimilate everybody just into their...
That's a good sound.
The cube.
Yeah. That's right.
Resistance is futile.
Efficiency without soul. Yeah. So the Borg, they represent perfect process and the total loss of individuality. And I would say there's some REITs and institutional operators that kind of drift this way.
Sure.
Where everything is efficient, but just sterile, just boring.
It's kind of like, this is the way it's done.
You put in money essentially into an index fund, you get a return. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like smaller operators, Furlo Capital, ourselves, we kind of keep that human judgment and touch to it in the loop. And we balance the systems with the empathy and the local knowledge and just bringing interesting properties to our investors.
Yeah, there's a lot more creativity. Yep.
Yeah. And so you just gotta have that balance between the pure automation and like that empathy piece.
Also, Borg are just creepy. Don't be like the Borg.
Don't be like the Borg.
That's just
All right.
like a motto for life.
Don't be like the Borg. All right. I do love systems, but I hear you. Another just takeaway from this is systems should serve people, not consume them. And so automation should amplify efficiency, but empathy, like that's important to have that still in the system.
Yeah.
Somehow. Yeah. All right. The final frontier of wealth building.
Nice. So good.
You love all these puns, don't you? It's so crazy. So Star Trek isn't just about space. It's about stewardship, because every captain, every engineer, and every planet wrestles with the same question that we do in real estate, which is, in your investing, are you exploring wisely or just chasing the next nebula? Yeah. And yeah, the big things to remember again that we learned from Star Trek is that Prime Directive, study before you act. The Federation model, which is to scale through shared values, not just go after the dollars. To have some systems thinking, and you want to engineer what you're doing for resilience. You do want to have some ethics in there.
Yes.
Yeah, purpose-driven, so not just Borg stuff. And you want to value the people, your crew. And so you're investing in your people. And so there you go. That's what I learned from Star Trek.
That's awesome.
Real estate investing.
So many lessons.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's not just about exploring space.
Exactly. And I think this is going to be a little controversial. This is the old Easter egg for people who watch the entire
Oh,
time.
man.
I think I like Star Trek more than Star Wars. I
Wow.
definitely the more, I would say Star Trek has done better in like the modern, like keeping it going versus Star Wars. Star Wars seems like there's a really great story that happened, 40 years ago. A long time ago. Yes. in a
Galaxy far away.
Exactly. And they're trying to hold on to that.
Yes.
And
yeah, it's a lot more, there's a lot more nostalgia and like preservation. I feel like with Star Wars.
They're like, it feels like
we have to,
that's a good way to say it.
We have to keep this.
They're trying to preserve, playing like a prevent defense. Whereas Star Trek is more, nope.
Go this direction, go that direction. Yeah.
It's even to the point where it's like in Star Trek, right? If they do an older one, they just have, they hire someone who looks like Spock, but isn't.
It has
whereas
like
Star Trek is like, no, we're going to do the whole AI thing. And
make this particular character be the same.
Yeah.
Which they have what I appreciate with Star Trek is they have the heart of that character, like the mannerisms, the trope, like the who that person is, but it's played slightly differently. So you're like, okay, cool. This is still true to the story.
Yeah.
But I can still enjoy it differently.
I also think there's just Star Trek fundamentally is like, it's just drama in space, man.
Oh, yeah.
And whereas, I don't know, Star Wars is slightly different. It's more adventure.
More adventure.
But again, there's this definite feeling of preservation versus moving forward, which I think is just another way of investing. There are investors who are like, nope, I just want to preserve the wealth. That's all I'm looking to do. Like,
it's true.
Which is fine, but it can get a little old and tiring and can like not be great.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other hand, like if you are off exploring new stuff and pushing the bounds on it, that can cause an issue. But yeah, I think just from a pure entertainment standpoint, now that I've jumped back into the Star Trek world, I think I've enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
Lower Decks was fantastic, by the way. I can't sing its praises loud enough.
So interesting. I'm gonna have to watch more episodes because I skipped around and just jumped in with you here and there.
Yeah.
And was like, all right, I get it. It's kind of like a spoof type of thing.
Yeah.
But maybe perhaps I need to see like the whole.
It's an adult cartoon.
Yeah.
Because there's violence and a little bit of language, but yeah, they're not afraid to, which is part of their whole thing of, oh man, that person just died. And they just kind of, I mean, that happens in the live actions, but they just,
whoa. The red shirts for sure.
Oh, they make fun of the red shirts. That's pretty funny. It's great. Yeah, all the classic stuff. So yeah, there you go. Anyways, we could talk for way too long about that. Star Trek is like real estate investing. And if you are interested in learning more about not only my Star Trek fandom, apparently, but also how we invest, you can check us out at furlo.com and you can see what we're about, the types of projects we do, and how you can partner with us. So with that, thanks for listening. What is it? Live long and prosper. I can't do it. I don't have the muscles.
No.
Okay.
I'll do it for you.
There we go. Yes. Anyways, thank you. Live long and prosper.